So great to have you here. This is so great. How long have we, when did we start working together? Was that December?
Feel like
November?
November, maybe
November,
November, maybe maybe no, October, November, something like that.
October, November. Like it's been like 2 or 3 months.
November.
It's been
Yes. Let's say 3 months.
a very short period of time. And I want to just start this off giving people a little bit of background of like you're a great business owner. You've been running this in this game for a while. You have some incredible accomplishments. But when you're coming in, you're dealing with a few things. And I've heard of the horrific horror story launches and the funnel burnout. So tell me a little bit about what was happening when
The
we got
tragic
started.
launch of
Yeah.
2024 or whatever year. We had I had been working with this team of marketers who I knew because back in the day, I was a marketer. I was a CMO for My Fitness Pal. I consulted with Mind Valley. And I met a lot of these people along the way. So they were like the people that all these companies, in our space go to do their marketing. And I love them as humans, salt of the earth, but we kept hitting income plateaus when I was doing it my own way. Then I started to kind of resort to the commonly taught, like marketing strategies in the coaching business to try to grow. And it was just like a series of hot messes. All right. So first I ran big live events and they super worked at first. And we sold a bunch of high ticket. I mean, the first one I did, maybe we sold 500K in a 3-day period. But I also spent 200K to run that event. And then I had to have a whole sales team and I was like laying on the floor with exhaustion. And then we started using different live 5-day live challenges. And we just consistently had this problem of that they were telling me it was a problem. I wasn't spending enough on ads. The actual problem was the quality of the people who are, they was just like sheer seas of freebie seekers. Like people who loved me and loved my content and would literally never spend a dollar with me ever because they don't have the money to spend. And so I just actually hit a wall when I was like, okay, I'm not spending enough here. Let's do this 65K spend on this 5-day challenge. I had this producer come to my house. It was all perfect. The content was perfect. Dialed for sales. Literally nobody bought anything. Actually, the only people, and then afterwards, I figured out how to sell some stuff just to pay for those ads. And it was all to my list. They were still all people who were on my list. So I'm like, why am I doing this? And I systematically started firing people. I systematically started firing my agency, firing my sales team, and I didn't actually have a plan. I just was like, this is not it. And that was somehow, I don't even know how I learned about you exactly. Probably an ad.
You came through one of the mid tickets. That's
Yeah,
typical. Yes. Some terrible looking sales page that somehow got you here.
totally. Totally. And I don't think I came to whatever it was you were teaching live, but you sent the replay the next day and I was like, you know what? I buy this. Sure. I buy these hypotheses. This seems right.
That's what we're doing. And that's such a good way to frame it. That's exactly what we're doing.
And that's how we started working together. And I think
It's
really
amazing.
be quickly, I was sending myself. Or maybe you did a one-on-one. Yes, because I think I
Yeah.
came into Catalyst, you did a one-on-one call, and I was like, "No, this dude is cool." And I do always appreciate people. In my world, nobody like you said, I've had some success in life, and I have a big personality, right? So people never say nobody will ever give me the straight dope feedback that I give other people. Like, I tell my clients, I commit to see what needs seeing and say what needs saying in your business or your life or whatever. But nobody really does that to me. And so I super value, when I got on a one-on-one with you and you're very direct and then there's no, it's not weird or emotional. You're just very direct and clear. Um, and I felt like you were you were helping me essentialize. Let me just say this, because this is for people who are thinking about working with you, right? Okay. So no, but I don't care how good you are at what you do. No human being can fully see the label from inside the jar. You can't do it. I can't do it. And I'm very self aware and very blah, blah, blah. So that's like, to me, that's a huge part of the benefit is everyone around me will be like, yes, yes, do that. That's going to work. And it super doesn't. And you're like, actually, you know what you should do? Don't do that. Not
It's
that.
so true. It's so true. And I think that's such a good frame. And that's one of the things I always put on my offer docs is like, if you want my brutally honest feedback, because important feedback that is essential is sometimes not going in making people happy. And I just like as an example in WhatsApp, I just told this guy, I'm like, this offer is not working. You should kill it. Like do something different. And
And
rather than trying to be like, yeah, you could make it work, I'm just it's not working. Like he's tried a few times to get it working. And I'm like looking at the ad library, looking at these things. I'm like, the signs are not looking your way. Like do something different. Right. So
totally.
I think that's so damn important to have that. And one other thing I want to hit on is the agency trauma. Oh my goodness.
Oh
Like
my God.
agency and guru trauma is so real in the sense that, yeah, normally spending more money does not solve problems. As much as people often think it does, it really, really doesn't. And it's like, if
It's
you can't
funny
get
that
it
you
working
said that
for,
that way. Okay,
yeah,
because I was just thinking about this morning as I was confessing. I've recognized that I have an overparenting, overmothering habit. Okay.
yeah,
And like, I was thinking about this morning that when I was a kid or when I was like a young, I really was motivated to grow my business and grow my revenues by the idea that like there's a bunch of problems that that regular people have when they are parenting that money can solve, right? Like cleaning is a pain in the ass. Like there's all these things, like it's just too much. And so I remember kind of using that, mining that as like motivation to have enough money that I never had to worry about these like really mundane things. And I could spend all my time focused on like accessing more of my genius and really like bringing myself to the world. But I think over time, that focus can really almost like warp into a tendency to throw money at problems, which is not the same as if there's a problem that money can solve, you should use money to solve it. That is very different from throwing money at problems to like avoid the fundamentals. And that's what I think the agency is. Actually, one of my salespeople back then was like, they're making more money than you are. She was straight up like, between what you pay us, the sales team, what you're paying for infrastructure, what you're paying for operations, what you're paying for marketing, what you're spending on ads, like I'm literally the only person that's not getting paid. And I heard and I'm talking about these launches like they were awful, Zach, but like that the money we were making on those launches was still what most coaches would think is a great result, but it's not if you're spending 65K on ads. It's not if you're spending 200K to run the event. It's not if you're working I engineer now for 16-hour work week. I was working 16-hour days. I'm not even
yeah,
exaggerating. As a single mom with like a 5-year-old at the time.
brutal,
Uh,
absolutely
it's
brutal. And
brutal. And I actually started to hate it. And I was like, literally, I could have lived off of that was my turning point. I could have lived off of my stock market money that
yeah,
year. But
and seeing
instead,
those new
I
clients,
sold stock to pay for ads. Make it make sense.
brutal. Yeah, it's such a good point. And it's so funny how people often think that if we just, it's like that hiring principle, exactly like what you did, where it's like, if I just hire the people, then it will just grow and it will work. But very quickly, you're not the first person that I've seen. It's so common with 7-figure business owners where the revenue numbers are so high and beautiful, but the actual take home numbers and profit numbers are just scary low to the point. It's like, I could have just, had like 3 or 4 one-on-one clients and made more than this. Right.
I was like, I could actually have
Yeah.
just been it's 6 months of the
Just,
year. I could literally have not worked at all and made more money.
isn't that crazy? It's
That's
shocking.
that's not
It's
okay.
absolutely shocking. I know. And and that's what I see a lot of people fall into because they're trying to build, they're following the age old game. And I love this. In Mark Ford's book, I talk about this all the time of Ready, Fire, Aim, where if you want to build an 8-figure business, it's like you're not making money until you actually get to 8 figures. He's even says
Yes.
this like outline in his book where he's like 7 to 8 figures, like you're probably still losing money at this point. But like as soon as you get to 8, you'll start actually making money. And nobody seems to pay attention to this when they follow these old models built on this book. And this is why, again, you're not the first person that I've talked to at a 7-figure level that was just like, wow, I'm actually getting paid so little compared to the amount of money we're rolling in. And it's cool. Like, look at all this big revenue number in my Stripe account, but then all of it goes to this person and this person and this person and this person. And next thing you know, you're like, well, what do I have left?
Literally, I had to do this. I had to make it my mantra that revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. Revenue is vanity, profit is sanity.
Love
And
that.
then because I don't often get the lesson on the first go, right after I met you, remember I had my accident where I burned myself really badly. I
Yes.
had second-degree burns on, like, 27% of my body and was still doing calls. You
Yeah.
were like,
I
"Hi,
remember that. You jumped on a call like
what are
2
you
days
doing? You
later.
have bandages." I was still doing calls, and then this is actually all part of my business story. Um, the doctor, like, my arm was the worst burn, and the doctor was like, it's okay for you to type for 5 minutes a day." And I was like, "I've been typing 5 hours a day," thinking I was taking it really, like, slow, but this part of my hand wasn't healing, and they were like, "'Cause the friction with the bandages, you gotta stop typing." So I literally stopped doing everything for, like, 3 or 4 weeks, really early in our time working together, and it was, like, kind of a perfect moment in time for some of these things to really sink in. And I was working on my productized offer with you during that time, and I had kinda kept my audience in the loop on what was happening with me, um, and then we launched it, like, we launched our productized offer, I mean, literally maybe, like, within the week after I came back to work, and we had almost a six-figure month. I launched it
Or if
with no
you don't
ads.
mind sharing.
Only to my list. Um, and it was just actually really me being like, "Hey guys, I'm not doing this anymore." Actually, do you know what I said? I am no longer intending to be of service to you. I'm not doing it. Here's what I will do. Help you get results. And so I just super strictly implemented your advice. I super strictly did what you said. I super listened. Um, to everything you teach about, like, the vision. And I just got really clear, and because it was really still for a month, it was a good offer when it went out, but you and I did a couple sessions where you were just like, "No, no, no,
Yeah,
no, no,
delete, delete,
delete,
delete, delete.
delete."
Way too much here. Way too much here. Just keep it
Beautiful
simple, keep it
storytelling.
blunt.
Delete.
Yeah. Yeah.
Delete.
This
And
beautiful
it
origin
super worked.
story, we're cutting that. Like it's just, yeah.
Amazing, we're not telling that here. Um So it super worked and it has really continued to work. And so that's what we're doing. And um like the model works.
Oh, do you
I
remember
mean,
what the number was? If you don't mind sharing.
92,000
Amazing. That's awesome. Yeah, I
with
remember you
and
you
that's
sent
like
me that
with no ads.
because I think the thing that I love about you is you're just like quiet doing your thing. And you're like, yeah, I just had like a 92K launch. It's working
A
well. I'm like,
92K
oh,
launch
wonderful.
like a 92K launch with none of that. With I didn't spend $65,000. I spent $0 on ads.
Yeah.
I didn't have a 5-person sales team, infrastructure to track, commissions to pay. I didn't have any of that. I actually think that was probably I've been in this business 7 years, and I'm sure that was our most profitable month because I mean, I had slashed my team costs were like 10 or 15% of what they had been like 6 months earlier. Um, that's my
You.
story.
I love it. I
Yeah,
absolutely love it.
I do
And
too.
I love that revenue is vanity, profit is sanity. That is
Revenue
just
is vanity. Profit is sanity. I wish you could quote me on it. I saw it on Reddit. Um,
That's okay.
and it just was like,
Anonymous
yeah,
person
literally
passing it off,
anonymous
right?
person on Reddit.
Yeah.
Don't
I,
tell
and
anybody on Reddit.
And I think that that is just so essential and so true is that I love that maybe it wasn't revenue wise the biggest, but the most profitable. And in our business, especially if we're just trying to build something that works around our life that again can use money as a tool, it's like we don't need to have these high revenue, low profit months. Like we can just
Ever.
have really, really profitable months, and just actually have money as a tool rather than having to pay all these people out, which is the
Totally.
biggest thing, right? Because now it's like, hey, at least now if I want to run ads, which is what we're doing, like our goal now for the next phase of working together is to get your ad engine running and have it so that it's liquidating pretty much day one.
Yes.
That's my goal. And that's the next thing. Profit first every time.
Yes.
Um,
Sarah.
that was so amazing. I just wanted to, one final thing. This has been so good. Is there anything you'd say to someone that's considering about working together with me? I don't have other coaches except for in the community, but with me
Mhm.
personally, is there anything specific that is, especially because I know you've worked with a lot of people and you
I
hit on some
do.
great points.
I always have great people, and I feel like I make a lot of progress on different things with different people. But if you
Mhm.
want to actually progress on like profit, like money that you get to
Profit
take
progress.
home,
There we go.
that's what I would encourage. If that's what you're interested in doing, come here. I will say, I think I've also gotten better at a lot of things, like skill wise, got improved at a lot of things since I've been working with you. I think like my audience is super. I run your Rainmaker, um, and protocol, and my audience keeps being like, "Whoa, what is your new approach to like content?" It's kind of there's been like a real snowball effect, and started with the monies. So yes, I would say if you desire to make more money in your business that you can keep, and you desire to not be in this like adrenalized nonsense that people are teaching, I can call it that. He's not going to call it that, but I'll call it. Because it's just, it's so, this is what you're good at is essentializing, just removing complexity that does not need to be there. And I do think that's a really common problem for entrepreneurs in this space. So if you would like a coach who can help or a consultant, I'm not sure how you like to,
Label.
but
We use
yes,
whatever.
a Zach,
Take your label. Take your label.
a Zach. Um, that's what I get from this. I get like removal, cutting through layers of complexity, cutting through layers of delay, cutting to profit that I get to take home.
Love that.
That is what this is for.
Absolutely love that. That's beautiful. Thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate you
You are
and
so
very
welcome.
excited for phase two. Now that we've got the productized offer rolling, that's the next big exciting move for me is
Let's do it.
to get some actual profitable ads working. That's
You
right. I
still my
know,
heart.
right? Profitable ads. What
You
is this?
still
What
my
is this
heart.
now that where if you actually spend more, you make more, you know,
More
like
too. Then you
obvious
spent.
obvious things that should be, obvious, but I guess, anyway,
They
we're not
are
gonna go down
not.
to agency trauma either today. So I appreciate you, Tara. Thank you so much. And
All
it's been
right.
such a pleasure.
You too. Talk to you soon.